Thank you, Mark. Can you hear me well?
Absolutely. Very good. Thank you.
And yes, I do know Marco very well, but more in my role as a customer, I think. We're not there at the same time, but I do have many friends and good colleagues at PTP from those days, so it's still a place I treasure fondly. And thank you, Mark, for introducing me, and thank you to all of my fellow panelists. Good day to you all who have joined us today. As Mark said, my name is James Wroe, and I'm the head of Ocean Customer Logistics for Maersk in Southeast Asia and Oceania. And today I will be talking to you about some aspects of our transformation towards being the global integrator of container logistics. Oh, that didn't work. Where is that? There we go. So we began this journey in 2016 by laying out our strategic direction to move away from being the conglomerate of businesses that many of you may be familiar that Maersk used to be, divisions of shipping, terminals, logistics, oil and gas, and so on, towards being this integrated business solely focused on the provision of logistics services. Today, we have an integrated organization focused on serving our long-term customers across their supply chains with strong growth plans, both achieved already and still to come. When we began the transformation, we had strengths in ocean freight, a global terminal footprint, as well as strong aspects of supply chain management. But to truly create value for our customers, it was clear that we would need to add additional logistics capabilities in additional markets, or multiple markets rather, and leverage those with significantly larger investments in technology. Let's start with a look at our traditional ocean business. I mentioned a moment ago that the ocean business was a core strength, but more was needed to be done to create a solid foundation for future growth. The ocean business is now of higher quality, more resilient, producing higher returns and higher earning levels, and we've worked to reduce volatility through more long-term contracting, which improves our view of demand and helps for more agile capacity management. We're also providing differentiated products to the market to meet our customers' diverse supply chain needs, and having completed the acquisition of Hamburg Süd some years ago, we are now focused on more disciplined use of CapEx for the ocean business, only growing our fleet through efficiency and focusing new vessel purchases on replacements. The clearest external sign of our transformation, I think, lies in the growth engine that we've been trying to create on the logistics and services side. We have a much improved product portfolio, both through internal product development and acquisition, both in physical and digital products. We strengthened our organization through the hiring of logistics experts across products and focused heavily on internal talent development. And that in turn has helped build trust to develop expanded partnerships with our customers, where we focused our time on understanding their needs and in turn seeing greater adoption of services across this range of products that we put together. That's brought the proof of clear organic growth over the last 3 years, supported, of course, by 3 successful acquisitions over the past 2 years. Results in our terminals business have also improved. Financial results are up, with ROIC improved and EBITDA margin doubled since 2017. Further to that, customer satisfaction is increasing, and the product offering from the terminals to hinterland users is also expanding, with much of that success coming from the 2 pillars of closer collaboration between the terminals business and the ocean business, but also the implementation of a new lean operating model to drive continuous improvement. The previous 3 areas are really the most visible parts of Maersk to the outside world, but I mentioned earlier that it's through technology that we see a path to driving a true competitive advantage and a very different Maersk from 5 to 10 years ago. That requires us to build an in-house technology powerhouse with significant external talent being brought in. We use that powerhouse in 2 tracks. One, to drive customer adoption of digital solutions across platforms and different channels and for our digital products, and in furthering internal efficiencies such as the automation of terminals, improving fuel efficiency, and making even better use of data to support decision-making. So from where we stand today, we see our roadmap now as continuing this strengthening of the ocean and terminal business, rapid growth in logistics and services, both organic and inorganic, focusing our investment portfolio on this integrated strategy. And finally, which I won't spend any time talking about today, but also to drive the decarbonization of logistics. I've mentioned this concept of being an integrated logistics provider a couple of times now. So given the theme of today's event, let's just zoom in on that a little now and explore some of those areas of value creation. Traditionally, supply chains have been structured around cost optimization, standard products or transactions, separate or disconnected products set up in a static environment, and they're really vulnerable to external shocks and disruptions, something that you can all see today more than ever before, unfortunately. As a result, shippers need to deploy a large orchestration layer, either internally or via a third-party logistics provider to manage the lack of flexibility and resilience. In the end, disruptions cause extra costs, which is probably familiar to us all, which are not possible to adequately capture upfront. So to quote the head of the Global Shippers Association, most supply chains are too static and traditional, and we see a need for more flexibility, less complexity and fewer handovers between the multitude of players. And it's really that challenge that we aim to address. Through a combination of operational control and technology, we see that customer experience can be improved and the need for orchestration reduced through the elimination of complexity. Our winning aspiration is to create customer value by integrating modules and leveraging our network to provide a resilient, flexible, and efficient supply chain end-to-end. With that in mind, today we are building operational capabilities to cover the whole chain. We're providing modular value propositions supported by technology to accommodate for customers' individual preferences. And we strive to offer a single point of contact, or a single point of accountability rather, for delivering a final outcome through operational excellence. Yeah, a little bit like Marco said before, and this you might say this sounds all well and good, but yeah, what will you actually do to achieve that? So let me just recap these three levers that we use to bring that vision about. First of all, we're changing our business model to create a more resilient ocean business through differentiated value propositions. We're creating strong modular products in logistics and services to enable the building of integrated solutions for customers. And we're making significant investments in digital capabilities to bring new value levers for our customers, something which I'll now take you through in a little bit more detail. Excuse me a moment. So in terms of the paradigm shift, that's the title for today, then that paradigm shift is impacting global logistics. Technology is really at the forefront. And I think you've seen that in the previous panel's presentations as well. But technology is critical to deliver integrated logistics, and momentum is certainly building up in the industry. We've hired over 2,500 tech staff in Maersk over the last 3 years, with another 1,000 to come. We changed our technology architecture to improve scalability and amendments, and that might sound rather detailed, but that was a huge problem for us in Maersk, with a lot of legacy systems built up over decades, very difficult to scale our products, so that we've taken to task and addressed. In turn, that's helped to speed up our speed to market with new developments. And in concrete terms, that's then led to the huge growth of our digital booking platform, Twill, from around 9,000 FFEs in 2019 to 116,000 FFEs last year. Our new supply chain management platform, Wroe, has 100,000 containers contracted to it after only a year of operation. And through TradeLens, we target to release 10,000 electronic bills of lading this year, with 100,000 targeted for 2024. What we're providing to our customers is super exciting, at least I think so, in the role I have, being responsible for service delivery. But since we're in a ports forum here today, I thought it would also be useful to focus in on how we apply the same thinking to our terminal operations. We developed a new truck appointment system that is now deployed in 26 terminals globally, handling 9 million truck visits a year. This allows our customers to optimize their daily planning by booking appointments online and provides the foundation to minimize truck turn times. Our apmterminals.com site, which provides for example, track and trace capabilities or the booking of value-added services, receives 100,000 visits per day. enabling customers to book and buy services when and how they want. And 15 terminals from our portfolio now provide data services such as access to real-time information, with a global API store in development that will have our entire portfolio of financially controlled terminals at least online by the end of next year. These kind of initiatives lead to some really great results. And I've picked only one example here just to help me illustrate that. So I'm going to go through a small example from the US. We've seen a really big reduction in the time that it takes to get import containers to market, with train departures now within 24 hours of discharge compared to the local standard that used to be between 48 and 96 hours, if I remember rightly. Weather disruption has been reduced despite conditions being very poor last winter, and the terminal was actually the first to reopen in the local market despite being closed when the conditions were at their worst. Customer satisfaction has also gone up, largely through the use of the truck appointment system that I mentioned before, and deployment of automated gates. And finally, on the ocean side, we've also been able to increase capacity by more than 20%. So you can see that across a range of port activities, there is value to be created, even in existing businesses. We in Maersk are fully convinced that stable, predictable, reliable, and resilient services are not an unrealistic aspiration. But we'll only get there if we abandon the dominant price-driven zero-sum thinking that has had a habit of marking our industry. I think it was Nasri before who mentioned the customer is only interested in cost, and I might well be guilty of that at some point in time. But ultimately, if we're to break some of the molds of what have happened in this industry and really make a difference, and yes, of course, cost is important because ultimately it gets passed on to the true customer, but there's more value to be had by focusing on eliminating the waste that I think lies between us. A key pillar in achieving that goal is in the vigorous pursuit of digitization. Of course, everyone is talking about that these days. I know it is like the topic in the front of many people's minds together with decarbonization. But I think there's more because of the truth that lies within it rather than just the sheer use of a buzzword. Marco illustrated that to good effect a few minutes ago. For us, while customer needs are evolving rapidly to adapt quickly to a changing environment and shifting consumer demands, the importance of agility, operational excellence, and technology, to our mind at least, have been reconfirmed. Technology offers the key to being able to eliminate complexity in ways we could not achieve before. We have begun to move ourselves in that direction at Maersk and look forward to finding lasting solutions to global supply chain challenges with others in what will require, certainly in my mind, an inherently collaborative effort. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you and your kind attention today. Mark, I'll now hand it back to you.